Mondays through Fridays, 3:30 to 4:30 p.m.
Yeah, you're welcome to the Newsroom. We want to introduce is my name. Yeah, it is common that when a president comes in, Nigerians, after a year or so, will begin to ask for a reshuffle of cabinet, especially when they seem not to get the best of what they had expected from such an administration. And that of President Bola Tinubu wouldn't have been an exception in any case. Yeah, for more than 3-4 months, the Nigerians, or a section of Nigerians, have been clamoring for a shake-up in the cabinet, expecting the president to do away with some ministers who to them were performing below expectation or not performing at all. And a couple of weeks ago, President Bola Tinubu came out with an announcement, and eventually some ministers were removed, 7 of them, and 6 of them, beg your pardon. A new ministry was created, added to the 6 removed, and then we have 7 new ministers. Minister first degree and a minister in the second degree, which we refer to as a minister of state. With me in the studio is a friend and colleague, Kayode Adebayo.
Thank you, Tony, for having me in the studio today.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you, Kayode. We have Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction removed and replaced.
Okay.
Minister of Labor and Employment removed and replaced. Minister of State for Foreign Affairs removed and replaced. Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment. Minister of Livestock Development, that's a new ministry.
Yeah, new ministry. Yeah.
And then Minister of State, Housing and Urban Development, and Minister of State for, Education.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let us start with the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. The removed minister, Edu, was accused of a massive embezzlement of funds meant
in that ministry.
Fund meant for cushioning the effect of the hardship of economy. Nigerians have continued to cry that things are hard. Really, we are hungry, things are hard, and all of that. Now, the woman was suspended, and eventually she has been booted out. What do you now expect from the new Minister of Humanitarian Affairs?
What I will expect from the new Minister of Humanitarian Affairs is to learn his or her lesson from his or her successor. Predecessor, rather.
Okay.
So, because, that ministry was created for a purpose, and that is to alleviate the sufferings of Nigerians, especially during this economic problem that the country finds itself. So I would expect the new minister to learn the lesson and do what he's supposed to do. Otherwise, his own tenure might be somehow worse than the predecessor, and the consequence for him or her will not be palatable.
Okay, but some are raising questions. For more than 2-3 months now, the immediate past minister suspended.
Yeah.
Nigeria continues to operate. The federal government continues to give out bags of grains, rice, maize, or gari to state governments to give to people.
Onward distribution
without the involvement of the ministry, without a direct involvement. Although the ministry has permanent secretary and directors, but no minister.
Yeah.
Now, as we are talking, the presidency came out last week to say that about 25 million or about 50 million Nigerians are getting 25,000 naira every month. Which is as a way of reducing poverty. So the question now is, even if there is this no ministry, any difference?
The difference is clear. Those who are in charge of implementation of government policies are the career officers.
All right.
But the purveyor of government policy and the supervisor is the minister. He will ensure that the government policy is well translated into action for the people. So there is different. Although there might be a way by which the federal government is, maybe going about it through the career officers, but that notwithstanding, there should be a minister for that ministry. There should be a minister.
Because I recollect during the military era, yes, I think there was a department or a program called NAPEP.
NAPEP,
and
yes.
people will now forget that is where we got Keke NAPEP.
Yes.
And it was a policy on poverty eradication policy.
National poverty
eradication,
NAPEP.
NAPEP.
Yes.
And you know, the government then had
I remember National Poverty Eradication Program.
That is the NAPEP. And you know, the government then was doing fantastic. I believe this ministry came on board through that NAPEP, you know, of a thing.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's look at the Ministry of Labor and Employment. Because one thing is this, Kayode, if you ask people up there, you will be told there is ban on employment for now.
Yes.
There is an embargo this year, embargo on employment that year. The question is, what then is the major function of this ministry? If year in, year out, the story we continue to hear is there is embargo on employment.
But don't forget that ministry is not only saddled with the responsibility of recruiting workers.
Okay.
But look at the ongoing negotiation. Look at the threats from
NASO, from SANO, from NLC.
From NLC.
Okay.
There are supposed to be it is the responsibility of this ministry. Even when the issue of minimum wage was ongoing, it was the responsibility of this ministry.
The ministry negotiated on behalf
of the federal government.
Okay.
Although there was a committee set up, but it was the ministry that set up that committee to negotiate on behalf of the federal government. So it is not only the issue of recruitment alone. No.
Okay. So we need the ministry.
We need that ministry. We need it.
And then we go to Ministry of State for Foreign Affairs. It has a new minister now.
A new minister of state.
Yes, for foreign affairs. That's a junior minister, so to speak.
Bianca Ojukwu. Well, I expect that the woman will perform in that ministry because by virtue of her experience, don't forget that she was a former ambassador of Nigeria to Spain. So we had a wide experience.
She has always been in government one way or the other, either as SA to this president, as SA to that president.
Yes, and you know, I think she was once Miss Nigeria.
She was.
And she has traveled
extensively
all over the world. So by virtue of that, I think she must have enough experience to be able to pilot the affairs of that ministry.
Yes, I read a story that, you know, when, because of the face-off between Nigeria and Libya, following the poor treatment meted out by Libya to Super Eagles, and that the Libyans are now cracking down on Nigerians, asking them to leave their country. But Nigeria's ambassador to Libya said that the story is not true, that Nigerians in Libya are going about their businesses. I think this is one of the functions of a minister and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Then we go to industry, trade and investment.
I will also expect the new minister to be able to be able to do what is necessary and what is required of her to ensure that that ministry performs to expectation. Because all these newly appointed ministers, they should not forget that their predecessors were relieved of their appointment because of non-performance or underperformance. So they should just take a cue, and they should understand that the president must have noticed certain things in them that they will not disappoint him and Nigerians as a whole. So now they should be very, very careful. They should be up and doing in order not to disappoint the person that appointed them to that post.
Then there is one thing. There is one thing we cannot, shy away as far as Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, is concerned. Let's come back to our state. We have federal government establishments in Osun. We have steel rolling mill. We have Nigerian, machine tools. Another state we have Ajaokuta. These are Ajaokuta still. We have them in all other states. so many industries. And I think somebody put it at more than 17 industries that have left Nigeria in the last 17 years. And we have continued to have Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. And this time you see the president going out saying the investors are coming. This time you see a governor from this state, a governor from that state, a governor from that saying we are traveling out to bring, investment. And there is no way the governor of a state can do it on their own. No, without the involvement of this ministry and Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So I think Nigerians are tired of reading news about foreign companies,
foreign investors,
foreign companies leaving Nigeria,
okay,
and promises of foreign investors coming, to Nigeria without actually seeing anything, to show for it. We all grew up to know that there was an Exide battery in Lagos, Dunlop tire also. Ojo automobile assembly and so forth. Volkswagen too, in Lagos. All these, they have gone. So we expect the new minister in that ministry to look into that, because when actually we are talking about employment, this ministry.
But Tony, we should not forget that this Ministry of Trade and Investment is not only meant to ensure industrialization in the country. There are other issues that determine whether the country will be industrialized or not.
Is that
the companies that were leaving the country solely because of power supply, which is not within the jurisdiction of that ministry. And I think what this ministry is doing currently is to, there is no way that Nigerian government will enter into bilateral trade agreement with any country without the input of this ministry. I think that is where they are relevant for now. But in the area of maybe the siting of industries, there are so many other factors that are hampering the establishment of industries in the country which are not within the
view of this ministry. Although you have said it, but we cannot talk about establishment of industries, and we cannot say we actually want to bring in investors when power supply is
not there,
when road infrastructure is nothing to write about, when locals are threatened, with insecurity. So how will foreigners come and endanger, their own lives? You are very correct.
So that is it.
Now, the new Ministry of Livestock Development, I think this is ministry specifically established to cater to the needs of the north and the farmers and all of that, and some farmers here too in the south, not particularly for the north and north, but I think
that is where I wanted to that is the angle I want to talk about, because whoever is in charge of that ministry might also have that same thought.
That it is a ministry for the
ministry of that ministry is not meant to be, to be supervising the affairs of cows alone. We have our goats and sheep here in the south, everywhere in the country. So when they say the Ministry of Livestock, it's not about cows alone, it's not about goats and sheep alone, it is also about chickens. The poultry business.
Okay.
So there are so many aspects of livestock. So it is not a matter that is restricted to cow or sheep alone.
People actually will be talking about cow because of what southerners face, and like chunk of northerners too, in the hands of this so-called herdsmen,
yes.
Where cows will just, swarm to a farm and eat up everything. So it's a matter of, okay, let's say that, do we need a ranch for the cattle throughout the country, or do we need this, do we need that? I think that is that is the primary objective
of creating that ministry anyway. Yes.
In order to nip in the ministry, the clash between farmers and herders.
That might be one of the reasons why the federal government decided to create that ministry.
So I would believe it is not going to be a business as usual. Ministry of Livestock Development, in the next few months, the clashes between farmers and herders will have to reduce drastically, if not go to bed to sleep, forever. Those who shall be posted to that ministry should not see it as a way of making their own money or as a way of having their own heirs of cow or not. No. Yes, prices of things are skyrocketing in Nigeria, but if supplies overtake demands, prices will actually, come down. So this ministry should be able to work in consonance with the Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Defense as well.
Yes, defense.
Agriculture, to make sure that now, coming to an end, Ministry of Housing and Urban Development.
Housing and urban development. The issue of housing and urban development has always been an issue that is very germane in this country. So having this ministry, the thing is that the immediate past minister, maybe he was booted out of that office because he did not perform to the expectation, or maybe because he doesn't know how to go about implementing the government policy, the real aim and objective of government regarding housing and urban development in this country. But I would rather advise the new ministers now to know his onions, to know exactly, to study and understand what is meant to do in that ministry, because he was not posted there just for the fun of it. He was not posted there just to celebrate him, maybe because he's a minister, not for his people to celebrate him as a minister, but for him to work as a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and ensure that the aims and objectives of the government in ensuring the sustenance of that ministry come to pass.
Yes, in the past, we heard of 1,004 estates in Lagos.
Yes.
First housing estate also in Lagos.
Yes.
Here in Osogbo, we have federal government housing estate at Okuniti. We have a few houses also of federal government estate along Owode
Yes.
And when you get there, you want to ask questions: who are those who are harboring these, these housing units? Are they politicians? Are they ordinary Nigerians? Or are they workers for whom these housing units
are meant for?
Because at times it baffles me. Jonathan will come out, we are building 1,004 housing estates in this state. We are another one will come, we are building 1,000 housing estates in that state. That is all.
And the funny aspect of it is that we have so many abandoned housing projects across all over the country, literally all over the country.
Exactly,
so this minister should be up and doing. He should find a way of trying to complete all those abandoned projects.
Instead of initiating
new ones. What is there? Initiating new ones. When several ones are left abandoned. But the problem with our people is that maybe because of what they thought they would see in the process of starting a new project, maybe that is the reason why they usually abandon especially those ones executed by their predecessors. So we should move away from this kind of abandoned projects. We should try as much as possible. This new minister should ensure that he should tour the entire country and see what projects have been abandoned and in which states of the federation. He should now sit down and find a way to complete all these projects.
For instance, now I think sometime in December 2010 or January 2011, the Federal Secretariat was, the foundation was laid here in Osogbo along Ibokun Road. Close to 14 or 15 years after it is going to be completed.
And I wonder why it takes so long
for sure to have a federal secretariat. And because of that, we have to be very honest and sincere with us that Governor Adeleke of Osun is trying in that aspect. He came in and didn't just initiate new projects. He started by completing the ones left by his predecessor. We are not saying that his predecessor left abandoned project, but the ones he couldn't complete. Ikirun, Osogbo, the governor came and completed it. testing grants to Kebale, to Elisha Gara.
Yes.
The governor is doing fantastically well, and some other projects. That is what we call governance. Governance is a continual process. The fact that I complete what the predecessor did doesn't mean I have not performed.
No.
It is my name that will be put on the plaque that this road was completed and commissioned by. It's as simple as that.
And whoever is in position of authority should understand that whatever project that is being undertaken is for the benefit of the people, not for the benefit of themselves or individuals within the society.
That is it.
That is what should be paramount in their mind. That's my advice.
Well, thank you so much, Kayode Adebayo. Really able to pick each of the new ministry, one after the other and do a thorough, analysis. It is clear that actually we need all these ministries. We may not be able to understand what each ministry does, but whether we like it or not, they have their own, policies from the presidency. And we too, we shouldn't think the moment my brother, my sister is appointed a minister, that it's now our time to eat. No. Yeah, the new minister should know that they are in for a job. Those who were voted out not because they were not minister, because they did not meet the expectation of the president. Yes, that should be a big lesson for the new ones. Being sworn in today by President Bola Tinubu. Oluwatoyin Yusuf is my name. My colleague has been Kayode Adebayo. Join our colleagues tomorrow, 3:30 in the newsroom. Until then, enjoy the rest of the day. Good evening.